Poor starts, well, they finally caught up to the Spurs versus Phoenix.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope y'all having a great hump day. And we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. Your number one stop for all things San Antonio Spurs is right here at Locked On Spurs. Subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app. You know where to go. Also, check out the Locked On Spurs newsletter. The link is in the description below. Click on that. Completely free. It's a good little companion piece right here for Locked On Spurs. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNBA. Get yourself $20 off your first purchase. So, what are we talking about today? We're going to look back at the Spurs' loss in Phoenix. You already know there'll be no NBA Cup tournament moving forward for the Spurs. So that's out the window. But nevertheless, that probably is not the big issue right now with the Spurs, whether they made a Cup game or not. It's simply poor starts. It's reared itself again against the Suns. So what does this mean? What does this poor start mean for this young San Antonio Spurs that seemingly is turning things around, but learned a big lesson versus the Suns? And then we're going to talk about Wemby, and he won the Defensive Player of the Month award, the first time ever the NBA handed out that award, and Wemby got it. Why did he deserve it? We'll break down some numbers later on this episode of Locked On Spurs. Yeah, your Spurs could not get that win in Phoenix, losing 104-93. When Wemby goes scoreless for a half, that's not a good sign. That's definitely not a good sign. That happened. Just everything went wrong for the Spurs. Again, Wemby going scoreless, getting held under 100 points in today's NBA. It's pretty unheard of. Credit the Spurs. They made a valiant, pushback against the Suns, but it was a little too late. And this is something we've been warning you about here in Locked On Spurs. Them coming back and completing these come-from-behind games and getting W's are great. It's phenomenal. But we knew that couldn't sustain itself. And it happened again versus Phoenix. But this time the Spurs could not come back. A lot of lessons to be learned for this young Spurs squad versus Phoenix. And hopefully they can take that and move with it moving forward and can play 48 minutes of basketball. We have still have yet to see them play a complete game from beginning to end. I was going to discuss what happened and those poor starts in Phoenix with our guest. He is back, everybody. He is Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. Follow him on X at Dominguez5. He's been warning everybody too, along with me, that hey, these guys haven't played 48 minutes of basketball as of yet. They've been winning, Raul, but they still haven't really shown what they can do from start to finish. And by the way, thank you for making time to hop on post-game chat versus the Suns. Appreciate it, Raul.
No problem. Yeah, same thing with the Lakers. The Lakers, Lakers beat them by 4 points in the third quarter. The Lakers were able to close that game out. This time, I think it was, I can't remember, it was 9 or 11 points tonight against Phoenix, but it was still close enough to where Phoenix, was able to do what they needed to do in the fourth quarter. They can't do that against really good teams. They can't. They've been able to do it against some good teams like Sacramento, but a veteran team like Phoenix, even without Durant, they still have Booker and
Beal came back.
Beal. So it's just what Pop always preaches: 48 minutes. They played maybe 15 solid minutes, maybe the whole game.
You saw this coming on the horizon. Because even after those post-game wins that we've been talking about, one thing we kept on saying over and over again is, we're not going to rain in the parade, but they're still not playing a complete 4 quarters of basketball, and that's going to catch up. You warned the fans, I warned the fans, and it caught up to them in Phoenix. Now, it was bad from jump. Again, Wemby was scoreless for an entire half. Stop me if you had that on your Spurs bingo card this season. Wemby going scoreless for 2 periods. That happened versus Phoenix. So that's not a good sign. And then they were held to just 19 points in the first period. Got outscored 29-19. A slow start. Wasn't it last year, Raul, where it was always, the third quarter is the Spurs' nemesis. This year it feels like, the first half is the Spurs' nemesis. That they cannot sustain that moving forward. Now, credit to the Spurs. They did come back in the second, 20-23. Still got outscored by Phoenix. But, yeah, the Phoenix Suns' biggest lead was 13 points. That's how bad it got for the Spurs. Raul, I ask you this. Do you think this is a habit this team has gotten into, a bad habit of them thinking that, oh, we're down at the half, not a problem, we can storm back? I don't think this is a good habit for this young team to start getting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great that they have the confidence that no matter how big the deficit is, they can come back and still win the game. But, play better in the first quarter, second quarter, and those deficits aren't either are non-existent or they're not as great. So, instead of rallying the third quarter to come back and take the lead or get back in the game, if you play, fairly well first and second quarter, those strong third quarters could, expand your lead to 10, 15, 20 points. Right now, it seems like they're battling so much to get back in the game. A team like Phoenix, a team like the Lakers, they're using so much energy in the third quarter. Come fourth quarter, a team like the Lakers or the Suns can, close out the game because they see that how much energy they've expelled just trying to get back in the game.
Yeah, and that's what kind of made it frustrating too, was because the door was open for them to make that second half comeback when Durant exited the game. I think he tweaked his ankle. Suns didn't want to risk it. He didn't play the rest of the way. So there was a small opening of that. And you saw the Spurs jump on that. They closed the gap to 4 points at half. But within an instant, it was just in seconds, start of the third period, it was just all Suns. I mean, just quick. Right out of the gates, they punched back. There's been a common word that Popovich would say before he got sick, and now you're hearing it from the players and Coach Mitch Johnson. Physicality. Physicality. Bringing the fight to them. Champagne talked about it, how he thought the Spurs were having that fight of late, and you didn't really see that. You got a glimpse of it to end the game, thanks in large part to Vassell, more on him in a bit. But it looks like they just came out sluggish. They came out not there. Wemby looked sluggish. The team looks sluggish. Devin Vassell was your leading scorer at half at 12 points, by the way. So you put it all together as a bad mix, sluggish starts. It's kind of odd to think a young team like the Spurs can start off in a sluggish way. Dare I say, Raul, they were kind of feeling themselves a bit?
I don't know if that was it. I was kind of thinking, I wasn't sure, but I don't know if maybe perhaps the fact that this game meant a little bit more. I mean, they win this game, they're advancing in the NBA Cup. Maybe there was a little, not so much pressure, but excitement. Hey, we won this one. We're moving on. For a young team that hasn't won anything, hasn't come close to winning anything, getting the chance to win the NBA Cup, would have been huge for them. So I don't know if perhaps they were not nervous, but maybe just kind of eager, a little too eager. Maybe that was behind the slow start. Overconfident. I don't know. I don't know if this team would. I don't know if Chris Paul would allow this team to be. And Coach Johnson would allow them to be overconfident. It just seemed like they were just. I don't know. Again, maybe just a little too eager, or there was a little bit too much weight on them, knowing that this game really meant something.
Yeah, they were excited for sure to get the W. Champagne even joked about it in a post-practice session or a pregame or whatever it was recently to the media, saying, hey, the money is going to be a nice little push to get the job done. So they were aware of it. And playing in it would have been good for this young team to get some sort of quote-unquote playoff experience. I know I use that loosely, but it's at least some sort of pressure situation for them, and I think it would have been good for them. But this game was pressure for them to get into the games. Might have pressure. Maybe they're not there yet. Maybe they're just not there yet. Winning the way they've been winning is good and all, but when it came for the bright lights to get the job done, they did not do that. Now, look, they're playing against a tough team, Phoenix, but not like Phoenix record-wise was that any much better than San Antonio. They've been kind of a little up and down too. But yeah, it's just interesting to see how the Spurs' slow starts finally caught up to San Antonio. When we get back, we're going to discuss more. We're going to dig deeper into the numbers and just how exposed the Spurs are in that first half. With Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. Make sure to follow him on X at Dominguez5. But first, I want to talk to you about Game Time. Hey, I want to talk to you about Game Time. Go to gametime.co right now. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks. Make getting tickets easier for your favorite live events that much better. Game Time filters out the fluff, so you only get incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. Hey, Game Time has it all. They have the super deal. They got seats view before you buy. They got curated deals to make it easier to find the best price on great seats, the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection. You will be pleasantly surprised with this app. Go get it right now. Game Time Picks. Again, that's a curation that makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater. Hey, they have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. Hey, let's talk about Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Right now, you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get on the action in sports in most states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. And Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When your picks hit, you can get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. Prize Picks invented the flex pay, which means you'll still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Hey, look, Prize Picks is fun. It's simple. You'll enjoy having the experience of playing the game. I know I do. You will too. And yeah, download that Prize Picks app right now. Go use code LOCKEDONNBA and get yourself $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONNBA on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Raul Dominguez. He is with the AP Sports. Follow him on X at Dominguez5 and do that right now. We're talking about what happened to the Spurs in Phoenix and basically poor starts. It finally caught up to them, this time against a quality team, Phoenix. So before the break, Raul, I was going to say, hey, look at some of the numbers. Now, I broke it down quarter by quarter, leading into that last game versus Phoenix. So again, mind you, these numbers are pre-Phoenix game. So they were getting outscored up until that game 29-26 in the first quarter, 28-27 in the second quarter. Okay? And then they come alive in the third. They outscore their opponents 31 points to 27. And in the final frame, it's close, 27-26. Spurs get the edge. So they have trailed 13 times after the first quarter. They've trailed 11 times after the second quarter, and now you can add in 14 and 12 now with the loss to Phoenix. So there you have it. I mean, just a kind of a bigger macro view of how many times this team gets down. Do you think they need to shake up that starting unit? I know it's been a hot topic with Spurs fans, maybe to get them on the right path from the moment the ball goes up in the air.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they need to. They're going to definitely make some sort of change, because Devin's looking healthier, and they just got Jeremy back. I think they'll have Jeremy coming off the bench for a little bit, to get his conditioning back and get his shooting touch back. Although he looked great tonight against Phoenix.
Oh, for sure.
Or he looked great against Phoenix, rather. So there's definitely going to be some changes coming, but I don't know if that's gonna shake up the slow starts. I mean, I'm not sure what it is. It's almost like they're still trying to feel, almost like a boxing match where they're trying to feel out the opponent or trying to feel out exactly what they can do. And I think the big thing is maybe, I don't know, perhaps drive the paint more, have Wemby go score some more points in the paint early, just to get him going, because it seems like early on, seems like he takes a lot of three-pointers. They take a lot of three-pointers. and it seems like sometimes it takes them a little while to start hitting those threes. But once they start hitting threes, they come in bunches. But it seems like early on, it's almost like an old car where they're trying to get it started.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly. It's not like a car in winter. You got to let it warm up a bit and before you take it off the driveway and get on the road. And that's what the Spurs looked like that car stalled to start games. Now, digging deeper into the numbers now, just overall, whether it's home or away, if the Spurs are trailing after the first quarter, they're now 7-7. So they're about a 500 team. And then if they're trailing at halftime, they're 4-8. So they really, really, really got to fix that. And I think that's been the biggest adjustment right now. One of the biggest adjustments the Spurs still need to do is coming out with fire. Maybe, my opinion, I think, what do you got to lose? You got everything to gain. Maybe you do shake up the lineup a bit. Devin getting reinserted, but then the question begins, who sits down? Is it Castle? Is it Champagny? Okay, well, Vassell and Sochan. Okay, well, that mean Castle and Champagny come out. Is it somebody else? Who knows? Is it maybe bring in Mamu earlier? He's kind of an energy spark plug guy. He's been kind of buried in the bench past few games. What I want to ask you, though, is that seems to be the obvious answer, is just shake up that unit. Okay, maybe you don't change it completely to start, but maybe just start the rotation early. Bring in the energy guys, your Wesleys, your Mamus. Bring in those guys, Malachi. See if they can get a light of fire under this team in that first half. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I was also going to say that perhaps maybe the slow start was because, Jeremy came back and Devin came back recently.
That's true.
So maybe they're still trying to figure out the rotations, the minutes, playing with each other on the court. But the other thing that I've noticed, though, is even though these guys are getting healthier, and Mitch, Coach Johnson talked about as far as like their depth is getting really good, but I was noticing on the box scores recently, their rotation seems like it's getting smaller. Like, I think the other day, like it was primarily 9 guys. And then today, I think, sorry, let me look at the box score real quick.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
The box score, same thing. Only 9 guys. Yeah, only 9 guys played the entire game. It was the starting 5: Keldon, Zach, Devin, and Jeremy.
Yeah.
No Bassi, no Malachi, no Sandro. CD doesn't play much. Unfortunately, I really think he's got a bright future, but then Blake didn't play, so it's just don't mean to question, but it's just sort of odd that when the Spurs are doing so well, some of those guys are playing big minutes. Malachi, Blake Wesley, Sandro would come in, Bassi would come in, but now the guys are getting healthier rather than expanding their rotation. Seems like they're squeezing it more. So maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe, like you're talking about, bring some of these energy guys. I mean, because, some of the guys, aside from Keldon, some of the big energy guys are Bassi, Sandro, and Blake Wesley. And, they're not getting much run here.
No, they're not. No. We're not talking about the elephant in the room, and you got to give credit to the Suns. In that first half, they could not miss a shot. They were connected. I got the numbers here. They connected on 52% of their shots in the first half, while the Spurs connected on 35%. So the Spurs were pretty much ice cold in that first half. Again, it's a team that's supposed to be one of the better defensive teams, and they couldn't defend the outside shot. They couldn't defend the perimeter shooting of Phoenix, or maybe you can, and they just making them. It happens. It's the NBA. But you had in that first half Durant with 13 points. You had Booker with 12 in the first half. Tyus Jones, yes, Trey Jones' brother, 11 points in that first half. Your leading scorer in the first half, the loss to Phoenix, was Vassell with 12, and again, Wemby had 0 points. So you got hot shooting by Phoenix. You got a sluggish start by the team collectively. Wemby was a no-show for periods 1 and 2. Yeah, your chances are you're going to lose the game. Now, let's try not to just totally bleep on the Spurs, because they did have some bright spots here. Raul Vassell, again, solidifying himself as that 1-2 punch. That's been kind of a talk heading into the new season. Does Wemby have a running mate? Oh, is it really Vassell? He's tradable. We could trade him if something happens. But man, he is making a case to not only not be a trade, or at least a very high ticket price to trade, or a part of the long-term rebuild of this team. He just had just a phenomenal game, 25 points to lead the Spurs against Phoenix. Your thoughts on Vassell?
I've always loved Vassell's game. The biggest thing with him is just, him staying healthy. But he's just a three-tier scorer. 3-pointers, he's getting better at him. Got a great mid-range game.
Oh, yeah, does he?
He finishes really well. So, he's a scorer. I mean, I think we've talked about it before. It seems like the tougher the shot, the closer a defender is on him, he's going to make the shot. Which is pretty rare. It just seems like maybe the kind of if he has an open look, those are the ones he kind of struggles with. But I've always loved his game. I think it'd be silly to trade him. I think he's a big part of their future. I still think Castle is eventually going to be the primary sort of running mate with Wemby, but Vassell could be part of a big three, with Wemby and Castle, and again, it's just a matter of just keeping him healthy. But Devin, I think it'd be great to have him in the starting lineup, but for some reason they decided to keep him on the bench. He could be that dynamic scorer off the bench, but either way, he's going to get his points, and either way, he's going to be there in crunch time. So sort of like a Manu's kind of role. If he is
did he score 25 points versus Phoenix? He grabbed 2 rebounds, recorded an assist. He had a couple steals and a very key play to keep the Spurs within fighting, distance, if you will, when he caused a turnover to go off one of the Suns' players. He shot 10 for 14 from the field, 71% in 27 minutes, connected on 4 3-point shots. He was just scorching hot. Before we hit the break, let's hit the break now. When we get back, we're going to talk about Wemby getting the Defensive Player of the Month award in just a few seconds. We got to talk about Sochan's return. We haven't talked about that. Yeah, we're going to be doing that with Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. Follow him on X at Dominguez5. But right now, I want to talk to you about Chime Financial. We all hit a point where we realized it was time to make serious money moves. Take control of your finances by using Chime checking account with features like no maintenance fees, free fee overdraft up to $200, or getting paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit. You want to go to chime.com/NBA right now. Look, Chime allows you to overdraft up to $200 again with no fees. And Chime helps you make progress with fee-free overdraft up to $200. You get spotted on debit card purchases and cash withdrawals. No monthly fees or maintenance fees. Over 50,000 fee-free ATMs. Chime has spotted members over 30 billion. That's right, 30 billion bucks. Look, friends give friends a boost, right? Eligible members get a complimentary boost to temporarily increase a friend's Spot Me limit. When you give a boost, they can boost you back to temporarily raise your limit. Set up direct deposits in your Chime account after qualifying direct deposit of $200 plus. Chime will notify you to enroll in Spot Me. With an activated debit card, Chime will spot you up to $200 when you exceed your balance. Your next direct deposit is applied, and to your negative balance, Chime will never charge fees or interest for using Spot Me. Make all your finances a little bit greener by working towards your financial goals with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/NBA. That's chime.com/NBA. Chime feels like progress. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank NA or Stride Bank NA. Members FDIC. Spot Me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Terms and conditions apply. Go to chime.com/disclosures for details. Hey, I want to talk to you about Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Go there right now, San Antonio, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive, open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. They have it all. Great menu, cold drinks, hot drinks, coffee, the signature drink, Mudslinger, iced lattes. Pick something you're craving, they'll have it. Check out the menu. We're a proud local sponsor of Locked On Spurs and a proud community member, serving San Antonio the best coffee in the city. Go there right now. Open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. They have the Lightning Bolt series, which includes the Alien, which is a drink made in honor of Victor Wembanyama. Got to try it. Speaking of which, hey, they have these drinks, like I was mentioned right now, Lightning Bolt series. They're going to be containing Lotus Energy. That's 7 power plant extracts. That gives them flexibility to create new drinks. But if you want Red Bull, you just tell them and they'll put it in there. But the default will be Lotus Energy. Go there right now, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. They even got mini donuts. Best spot in the city to get yourself some coffee. Go there right now. San Antonio, follow them on social media at Muslinger SATX. Go there right now because life is too short for bland coffee.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from Cybertron Spurs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Raul Dominguez. He is with the AP Sports. He's based here in San Antonio. Follow him on X at Dominguez5. And we didn't talk about Sochan. Yeah. Sochan's return. Are you sure it was Sochan? I thought it was the Joker with that hair color. I'm pretty sure maybe it was the Joker, but he didn't joke around on the court. What a return for the injured Spur coming back from injury. He finished with, let me get it right here for you guys, in 21 minutes, he had 14 points, 5 for 10 shooting from the field, 4 of 8 from the free throw line, and 12 rebounds, and 2 assists and a steal. Not a bad return for the green-haired one. Really played well, made his impact, and his presence felt immediately. I liked it. I still think you still need a few more games to get him meshed with the guys after being, 13 games away? So, but one thing I did like, though, Mitch Johnson said pregame there were no minutes restrictions. I like that. Let him go out there and play. And for the most part, he made an impact. Raul, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, Jeremy's game is energy. He's sort of a almost a modern day Rodman, where he's gonna be the guy's gonna be crashing the boards, having putbacks, rolling to the rim for dunks. So his points, most of his points come in the paint, follow ups and dunks and things like that. So he's never been a guy that shoots a lot of threes, although he's getting better at it. But he's not a guy that shoots a lot of threes. Not a guy that shoots a lot of mid range jumpers. He's just very efficient. So the fact that his offense came back so quickly, to me isn't surprising, because it's just about him being, having energy and regardless of whether he has, coming back from an injury or not. I mean, he's just, his battery just goes, all the time. So defensively, I thought he did well as well. I'm still waiting for him to, start alongside Wemby, because I think that if you keep Castle in the lineup, you have Wemby, Sochan, and Castle, who are 3 of the best defenders, at their positions.
Right. Yeah, exactly. He was the second leading rebounder, I should say, versus Phoenix with 12 behind Wemby's 13. So again, he made an impact. And maybe one day we'll see Raul with green hair on Locked On Spurs, just like Sochan. Maybe that'll happen. Or red hair like Red Hulk. Maybe one day. Likely not going to happen, everybody. So don't count your chickens. That's probably not going to happen. But nevertheless.
But
what's that?
I had blue hair for a little bit, but didn't really. I had my hair for a while, and it was blue, but you couldn't really see the blue. So.
Like that blue hint, those tints, or what do you call it? Yeah. You're trying to look like Jinx, for those of y'all who remember the old Nerd Wall. Remember the girl who used to be up here? Yeah, Jinx. Yeah, she's gone. But anyway, again, Sochan, I think just give it time to mesh well, and I think this team will be humming. But then again, what do you do with that starting lineup? Because outside of the loss of the Phoenix Suns, they've been playing pretty well. I think everybody's been talking about the Spurs starting 5 among one of the best in the league right now. Their net rating is one of the tops in the NBA. So do you really want to tinker with that? If the numbers say the current starting 5 works, do you really want to go down that road, Raul?
Well, that's going to be a tough decision,
Yeah.
So, one thing I guess, even though they lost to Phoenix tonight, and and it sort of caught up to them, the bad starts caught up to them. This is one game, one loss. The Spurs still doing so much better than they did last season. There's still a lot of promise, but now with everybody getting healthier, it's a good problem to have, but it's a problem where Coach Johnson's going to have to figure out what his rotations are, who's going to be in the starting lineup. Because again, you had 3 or 4 really good players who had an impact, in previous games that didn't play at all. So how you allocate those minutes, that's going to be a tough one for Coach Johnson. Of course, he's not going to make this decision by himself. But,
right, yeah.
I mean, like we're talking about, who do you start? Who's coming off the bench? I know they talked about, Zach and Vassell, and Sandro, who's going to be the backup big man, who's going to be the backup point guard, Trey, doing well, but, if Castle goes to the bench, for some reason they put Castle back in the reserves, and, he's probably, the second point guard. So, it's a good problem to have, but it's a growing problem.
No, it is, but there's a part of me that says don't fix what's not broken. I mean, if I had, I said this the other day on Locked On Spurs, if I had to make a lineup change, I can't. There's part of me I can't let Champagny get off that. I need his floor spacing no matter what. I have to have it on there. So I'm looking at Castle. Ugh, I know Spurs fans don't like to hear that, but I think Castle could be the one you want to flip if you're going to make a lineup change, especially if Vassell's playing the way he's playing. Because that's just dynamite. That's dynamite right there for the Spurs to have on that first unit. But decisions, Mitch Johnson. That's why you get paid the big bucks. And we don't. Maybe unless you're a Raul, then then you do get the big bucks to make these kind of decisions, like Raul Dominguez. Again, he is Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. Follow my next at Dominguez Cinco. What do you think about the Spurs' loss? Is it just simply another sign of this is a young team and poor starts, and it finally caught up to them, or do you think it's deeper than that? Was it just Wemby just not being Wemby? Was it something so simple that Raul and I didn't see it? We need to know. Again, we told you can follow Raul and let him know your take by simply going to the X and follow him on X there at Dominguez Cinco, and follow me on the YouTube side of things. Yes, you want to go to Locked On Spurs YouTube, subscribe immediately, and be a part of the fun. See Raul every single time he comes here post game. So much. By the way, we have a picture of what Raul looked like when he had blue hair. Before we talk about that, there's Raul. There you go, Raul.
No,
you're looking fierce, Raul.
It was pretty bad.
It was fierce.
It was a kind of a Walmart version of the blue hair, so it didn't turn out very well.
Instead of Walmart version. Oh, I missed my nerd wall when Jinx was behind me right there. There you go. Well, no, that's definitely not Raul. By the way, good movie, good series, everybody. You haven't seen it on Netflix, Arcane. I highly recommend that. All right, enough of that. We'll trail off into some nerd talk here. Before we let you go, everybody, we got to talk about Wemby and winning the first ever NBA Defensive Player of the Month award. Well deserved. Seriously, well deserved. The numbers are just staggering. We talked about it earlier. The Spurs rank among the best of the best in the NBA on the defensive numbers, thanks in large part to Wemby. Heading into the game versus Phoenix, they have outblocked games 16, their opponents, I should say, 16 straight games. They recorded more blocks than the opposition. Did you know, Raul, or I wish it was Raul out there, then I'd really have fun getting an exclusive here, but when Wemby records 2 or more steals, the Spurs are undefeated.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, some wild defensive numbers there. But Mitch Johnson spoke about it pre-game versus Phoenix, said that obviously it was well-deserved because of his skill set. And it's interesting, he said that Wemby really focuses more on that than maybe he does on offense. He said that Wemby makes sure that part of his game, that end of the court, will always be there. Well-deserved, Raul. What are your thoughts about Wemby taking home that hardware?
Yeah, no, like you're saying, very well-deserved. I know he talked about, last year when Gobert won the award, he had talked about, happy that he had it, but that's going to be, I don't remember his exact quote. I'm paraphrasing. Essentially, he said, he was, happy that his fellow Frenchman won it, but it was going to be his, from now on. So, I think that's something that he likes to hang his hat on is, playing great defense because he knows that leads to offense, and he knows that great defense leads to championships. So I think he loves playing defense. I think he likes getting the blocks. He likes getting the steals. One thing I'd like to see the NBA do, they've added different stats, like plus minus wasn't around, say I think it's maybe 10 years ago it wasn't around. I would love to see I think it might be difficult to track, but I'd love to see a stat of how many guys don't put up a shot because Wemby's around. You see him drive, and then they see Wemby there and they kick it back out, or they drive in for a layup and they hesitate or either don't shoot or just continue dribbling. So love to see that because all the block shots that Wemby has, all the steals he has, how many shots per game do they not take because of him?
Yeah. And the eye test, you can just see it during the games. You'll see players hesitate, do a quick shot, or try to just dance around him. I've seen smart plays of players using the rim to protect themselves from Wemby. They do everything they can, but you can definitely see that hesitation with the opposition whenever they're near the rim, or even if on the break, they'll look over their shoulder a couple times, see if he's not there, because his long reach can get those chase down blocks. By the way, earlier I said the Spurs had out blocked opponents in 16 games straight leading into the Phoenix game. That streak's over. The Spurs only recorded 2 blocks. The Suns had 5 blocks. So hopefully the Spurs can get a new streak going. By the way, just some more numbers on Wemby's defensive dominance and why he won the award. 3.56 blocks per game right now. 1.3 steals. According to the Spurs, he's also accounted for 45.9% of the Spurs' total blocks. His defensive rating heading into the game versus Phoenix was set at 103.8. So, yeah, well deserved. Unfortunately, though, he did not win the Western Conference Player of the Month. He did get nominated, but that went to SGA out in OKC. He is Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. Follow him on X at Dominguez5. Raul, I know you're looking forward to seeing the Spurs come back home. It's going to be a quick home trip. I think they have back-to-back Thursday, Friday, then Sunday. Then we don't know if they're gone, right? Because I think there's that gap. We got to see what's going on with the tournament, but chances are they're going to be on the road. Yeah. So I know you'll be in their conference room with me, post-game chatter and all that good stuff. What else you got cooking over at the AP Sports side of things?
That's it. Just kind of waiting for them to come back and, seeing what the NBA does. I mean, last season they had they mentioned it on the broadcast. Last season they wound up playing the Bulls 3 games. Just a perfect schedule. So who knows? Maybe they play Utah again. They already played Utah 4 times. Maybe they play 3 more times or something. Who knows?
Yeah, so those are all wondering why there's like a big gap in games. If you're looking at your calendar right now, that's why. The NBA will release what games they're going to play in that gap. We just got to wait till once all the tournament seeding and all that good stuff is all set and ready to go. But unfortunately, your Spurs will not be a part of it. I really wanted them to do it just to get a taste, something of some sort of playoff-ishy experience. Once again, we want to look at Raul Dominguez, what it looks like with blue hair. There he is. There he is. Cool missile pack you got there, Raul. That's pretty cool you got there.
Shark. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, exactly. Again, he is Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. Follow him on X at Dominguez5. We'll be back tomorrow with our guest, Casey Vieira. Yes, my colleague at Ken's 5. We're going to be putting into the spotlight Stefan Castle. What do we got to say about him? Stay tuned for tomorrow's Locked On Spurs. And subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcast. iTunes, Spotify, you know where to go. Ken's 5 Plus app. The list goes on and on. Subscribe to the Locked On Spurs newsletter. It's in the description below. Click on it. Completely free. Sign up right now. So for Raul Dominguez, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.